Please, it's okay. You're stars. We like you for who you are. Insulated divas whose talent allows you to pig out on the finer things in life because we all need something to aspire to. But being talented, which you are, isn't the same as knowing things or having the credibility to advise people on their politics. You rail against privilege, but you avail yourself of the greatest privilege of all, to remain clueless. You can't argue with a straight face, or even a gay face. That the Academy in 2026 still overlooks minority achievement, or that Hollywood is biased in favor of all white people, just Australians. But come on, man, can we live in the present? No Academy member this year filled out their ballot thinking, well, I didn't think Chalamet was very good, but I'll vote for him because...
Let's be honest for a second. One of the weirdest things about modern culture is that the people who often act the most oppressed are sometimes living the most insulated, luxurious lives on the planet. That's Hollywood in a nutshell. We're talking about people with private chefs, personal trainers, gated mansions, massive brand deals, assistants on call, stylists handling every detail, and enough money to never even think about standing in a grocery line again. And yet, somehow, many of them still feel qualified to lecture everyone else about struggle, morality, politics, and how the rest of us are supposed to think. So if you enjoyed this, hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment, because this whole celebrity sermon circuit has gotten way too ridiculous to ignore.
It is kind of popular, and
it is known.
It is known.
He's absolutely brilliant at what he does.
And he's very good at what exactly. So you're going to have an inaugural podcast category,
and you don't have.
It just speaks to living in the blue sky bubble.
Yeah.
But get out of your bubble, you know. I want to be one of you. I am one of you, but you're just so hard to defend because you're just and this town is the epicenter of the problem. It really is.
How latest rant lands so hard. Not because he's saying something brand new, but because he's saying the quiet part out loud in a town that survives on fake applause and forced agreement. Hollywood loves pretending it's brave. It loves dressing up, making statements. It used to care about memorable stories, iconic characters, and scenes people would quote for decades. Now a lot of the industry seems more interested in earning moral brownie points from social media than in making something audiences actually enjoy. You can feel it when you watch modern movies and shows. The script stops. The characters flatten out. The story takes a back seat. And suddenly, you're not watching a film anymore. You're watching a lecture with mood lighting. That's where Maher's frustration connects with so many people. He's not just calling out a few celebrities for being annoying. He's pointing at an entire machine that rewards smugness over substance.
Yesterday.
How often do you get nominated for your specials?
Nothing. I used to get nominated for everything.
Yeah.
And then the wokeness came in, and then I was considered conservative. Which
are you bad?
Ridiculous. So I was what I call soft canceled.
Yeah.
Where you don't
Well, I'm a Bill Clinton liberal, which is from the 90s, which is now called a Nazi.
Exactly, right.
Yeah.
You're a white supremacist.
So this is the first time in a while I've been nominated for something.
Okay.
Which I think shows a little bit that we are coming out of the wokeness. I mean, I'm not going to win, and I'm probably not even going to go, but I take it as a victory that they were not able to ignore how good that special was. I just say...
Let's face it, the modern celebrity political lecture almost always follows the same pattern. A millionaire who hasn't lived like a normal person in decades looks into a camera, tells struggling families what values they should have, throws in a few buzzwords, acts like disagreement is evil, and then disappears back into a lifestyle so detached from ordinary life it may as well be on another planet, and regular people notice that disconnect immediately. They notice it because real life has consequences. Ordinary people cannot afford to be wrong in the same casual way celebrities can. If a normal worker makes a public mistake, it can cost them their reputation, their job, their relationships, or their financial stability. When a celebrity says something foolish, they get a PR team, a polished apology, a magazine cover, and sometimes even a documentary about their journey. That's not wisdom, that's insulation.
Stupid things that celebrities say about politics or finance or something.
Yeah, we're bad.
And then, so if you're like the person out there going, well, how can you live on $100 million a year? Vote Kamala Harris. It's like,
Yeah.
that's the game over. People are like,
Yeah.
I can't let the country in the hands of these people. I'll vote for this guy who's crazy, but at least
Insulation, you can't unsee it. Suddenly, every grand political speech from a red carpet starts sounding less like courage and more like theater, because it is theater. These people are performers. That's their gift. That's what they're good at. They can move us, entertain us, make us laugh, make us cry, and create unforgettable moments on screen or stage. And yes, that matters. There is real value in art and performance, but being talented does not automatically make someone informed. It does not make them grounded. It does not make them political philosophers. And it definitely does not make them morally superior to the audience.
You are insulated divas whose talent allows you to pig out on the finer things in life because we all need something to aspire to. But being talented, which you are, isn't the same as knowing things or having the credibility to advise people on their politics. You rail against privilege, but you avail yourself of the greatest privilege.
Hollywood can't help itself. It has this endless need to be seen as not just entertaining, but morally enlightened. And once that becomes the goal, everything starts shifting. Awards stop feeling like awards and start feeling like ideological participation trophies. Scripts start sounding less like human conversations and more like committee-approved messaging question the narrative, mock the slogans, or refuse to play along, and suddenly you're radioactive. You're not brave anymore, you're problematic. You're not independent anymore, you're dangerous. That's the point Maher is hammering home. He's not saying everyone in Hollywood is some cartoon villain. He's saying the town has built a culture where people are more afraid of looking wrong to each other than of actually.
Chappelle lashed out at me last month because I called him out for saying there was more free speech in Saudi Arabia than here. Well, I was right. What he said was stupid. America has many problems, including free speech issues on both left and right, but we're real different than Saudi Arabia. If you don't believe me, try opening a
into the awards world, too, and people can feel it.no. Voters aren't sitting there twirling mustaches and saying, let's ignore talent because of race. That's too simplistic. The problem is almost the opposite. The entire ecosystem becomes so terrified of appearing insensitive, exclusionary, or politically backward that it starts overcorrecting in ways that make audiences question the legitimacy of the whole thing. When that happens, trust erodes. And once people stop trusting the motives behind the applause.
It made them less enthusiastic about her as a candidate.
Come on.
Read the room, Democrats. Celebrities aren't helping. And why would they? In a country where the big issue now is affordability, outside of, I don't know, Springsteen and a few others, celebrities don't strike people as relatable or in touch. And what their activism mostly activates is eye rolls.
That idea crashes into reality the moment ordinary people ask one very simple question. Why should I care what this person thinks? Being able to sell out an arena does not mean you understand inflation. Winning an Oscar does not mean you understand foreign policy. Having a hit album does not mean you understand crime, border security, education reform, or the cost of groceries. In fact, the louder the celebrity endorsement, the more it can backfire. Because instead of making a candidate seem more credible, it can make the whole thing feel even more manufactured, like the campaign is trying to distract from weak arguments with shiny objects.
So Democrats, it's great you have all the big celebs, but people see them as an arm of the Democratic Party, which they already suspect for lacking common sense. I know. I know the celebrities mean well, and we thank them for having their heart in the right place, but just do you. Do what you do so well. Use your extraordinary talents for the noble cause of bringing relief from the problems that ribbons and pins.
Not nearly as gullible as the cultural elites assume. Voters can smell fake from a mile away. They know when they're being emotionally manipulated. They know when a talking point has been prepackaged. And nothing screams prepackaged like a multi-millionaire celebrity trying to cosplay as the voice of the common man. That's why Maher's broader point matters. It's not really about blaming celebrities. It's about recognizing that visibility is not people are tired of. Movies are no longer allowed to just be good. They have to announce their virtue. Characters are no longer allowed to feel natural. They have to represent an approved social position. Stories are no longer allowed to unfold organically. They have to carry a lesson, a signal, a wink to the culture war, a nod to the discourse, because great films don't need a lecture attached to them. They need strong scripts, compelling performances, sharp pacing, emotional truth, and directors who trust the audience enough not to be beaten over the head with
or even a gay face. That the Academy in 2026 still overlooks minority achievement, or that Hollywood is biased in favor of all white people, just Australians. But come on, man, can we live in the present? No Academy member this year filled out their ballot thinking, well, I didn't think Chalamet was very good, but I'll vote for him because he's white. Hollywood isn't a secret cabal of racists gaslight us as if none of it had happened. A couple of years ago, the Academy established a very complex rule book that said you couldn't even be considered for Best Picture unless you met certain criteria, like 30% of the crew or 2 department heads had to be from underrepresented groups, and a main storyline had to be as well. Well, there goes my idea about a polka band in a ski town. I mean, please don't get us wrong. We're not saying you can't hire who you want or make a movie about whatever you want.
Not through timid committee creativity. Not through artistic hostage situations where every scene feels like it was approved by 3 activists, 2 executives, and a nervous lawyer. And let's be real, this is why so many modern projects feel forgettable. They're crafted to avoid offense rather than to create impact. They're designed to survive online discourse, not to live in people's hearts. They're polished, approved, and completely lifeless. It's content by compliance, and then the same people who made it wonder why audiences keep going back to older films that actually had guts.
Make Titanic today and hope to get nominated, or Braveheart, or Amadeus. Apollo 13 was about a bunch of white people because white people have done some stuff. But somehow, without a production code, Hidden Figures got made and completed the historical record about how we got to the moon. Sinners this year is up for more Oscars than any movie ever. Sinners is good. It doesn't need affirmative action. Neither did Parasite or Shake.
Comedians like Maher become such a lightning rod. Comedy, by nature, pokes at pressure points. It doesn't flatter power. It doesn't survive by reading from a company handbook. A comedian who starts filtering every joke through ideological approval stops being a comedian and starts being a spokesman with timing. Maher's whole persona depends on refusing that role.